onto the mat there. And as ever, just make sure you're on mute, guys. I think sometimes you might inadvertently unmute yourself. So just make sure that you're on mute before we begin. Right. So as ever, in a seated position, it never ever has to be cross-legged. You can pop a blanket, whatever you've got to hand, a cushion, sofa cushion just underneath your hips to make sure that you're not rounding into your lower back. Sometimes, especially if you're not so strong in the back, we can kind of end up in somewhere like that. So really making sure that you're sitting right on top of your sit bones. You almost want your pelvis tilting slightly forwards. So to pop something underneath your hips can sometimes help elevate and drop your pelvis forwards. But you can stretch the legs out. It's never compulsory to sit with your legs crossed. Just find a nice comfy position there. Lovely. I'm going to bring one hand onto your heart, really doesn't matter which, and just one hand onto your lower belly there. Lovely. Just allow the elbows to soften. Maybe your eyes can close, your chin can begin just to drop down towards the chest without the body following. So find that nice length through the spine, which just allow the chin just to soften down slightly. Take a moment there just to mark that transition from whatever busyness might have occupied you thus far this morning. And we'll start. I'm just going to read you a beautiful poem. I've kind of taking great solace in poetry at the moment. And I thought I'd start with this one. So we're focusing on this area of the heart today, heart openness, so open the heart, work into the back body. It's a beautiful poem called The Singing Bowl by Matthew Geet. Begin the song exactly where you are. Remain within the world of which you're made. Call nothing common in the air or earth, accept it all, and let it be for good. Start with the very breath you breathe in now. This moment's pulse, this rhythm in your blood, and listen to it, ringing soft and low. Stay with the music. Words will come in time. Slow down your breathing. Keep it deep and slow. Become an open singing bowl whose chime is richness rising out of emptiness and timelessness resounding into time. And when your heart is full of quietness, begin the song exactly where you are. I think there are just some beautiful lines in that. So with the hand just resting on your heart, you can really tune into that moment's pulse, the rhythm in your blood. Slowing down your breathing, keeping it deep and slow. You can maybe feel that as you inhale, the space between your hands just grows a little bit as the hands gently drift apart with the rising of your chest and your belly. And try and keep that length actually the same, the distance between your hands as you exhale, so you're not slumping forwards. You're trying to keep lovely and open through the front body. So as you inhale, you feel that lifting beneath your hands, maybe the hands just drifting very slightly apart. Try and keep the space more or less the same between your hands as you exhale. So we're beginning to just bring our awareness to that front body, a sense of openness and space. Just one or two more breaths there. You might find the breath beginning to slow down. And then you have your eyes closed, just blinking the eyes open. And taking the arms out nice and wide, roughly level with the shoulders, you might need some space there. You're going to work on really lengthening and deepening the exhale. So take a nice inhale as you reach the arms apart. And as you exhale, reach the arms forwards, bringing the hands together. And then bringing the hands back to the heart, all in a long, slow exhale. So inhale, we'll begin to open the arms, maybe begin to lift the chest. And as you exhale, sweep the arms forwards, palms to touch, and then hands to heart. So see if you can slow and deepen the exhale. As you continue working with the breath, you might begin to bring the arms back, almost behind the center line of the body, finding that first, just very gentle hint of a heart opener and a back bend. So inhaling, if you are lifting the arms back behind the body, keep the chest open, maybe lift the chin. And then exhale, slowly exhaling, bringing the hands together at the heart. We'll do just once more. So inhaling, arms lengthen out nice and wide, heart lifts, maybe chin lifts. And last time, exhale, bring the hands all the way back down to the heart. Lifting breastbone to meet thumbs, softening shoulders. Come into a little side stretch, again incorporating a little bit of heart opener. Let's raise the arms just up towards the ceiling, dropping the shoulders. Take a nice in-breath. And exhaling, right hand down, left arm reaches alongside the side of the head there. Inhaling through center. And exhaling over to the other side. And just work with the breath now. So really feel now that you're grounded down through your sit bones. So you're finding that lovely length and space through the side body. I'm going to come over to my left-hand side one more time. And this next time I come over to the right, I can maybe bring my right hand a little behind my body and think about circling that top arm just up and back. So I'm coming into a very gentle back bend. Inhale through center. And exhale, left hand comes down again, just slightly behind the body so I can gently begin to just lift and arc the chest. Inhale. So you can keep the hand just directly by your hip if you're not happy in that beginning to open through the chest, if that doesn't feel comfortable. Or just joining me one more either side. So either with that hand behind you, you kind of sweep that top arm, kind of just back behind the body. So you're getting that little heart lift. Let's do just once more. Beautiful. So the last time over to the left, reaching both arms up towards the ceiling when you come back from that left-hand side. I'm going to come over onto all fours. So if your ankles and feet are okay, you can plant your hands and roll over your feet, coming onto all fours. But you can always just tuck your feet to one side if your ankles don't like that move. And planting the hands, spreading them nice and wide underneath the shoulders. And taking the gaze forwards, let's bring the awareness now to that area around the back of your heart. So we can sometimes kind of dip in the shoulders here. So really get the sense as you power the hands down that you're pressing the back of your heart up towards the ceiling. So we're coming into a nice long back. Tucking the toes under. Keep that sense of pressing down with your hands as you just dip your belly. Begin to lift the chin. Lovely, keeping again the back of the neck nice and open as you inhale. And exhale, really rounding into your back now, tucking into those balls of the feet as you press down. And then inhaling, allow the belly to dip, but again, try not to dip down and collapse in the shoulders. And then exhaling, pushing really firmly down into the hands. Doing that a couple more times, so keeping the toes tucked under you, waking up through the feet. And you can maybe feel that you can just draw the heart forwards a little bit more. Let's do that just one last time. Inhaling, heart draws forwards, tailbone lifts, but strong in the shoulders. And last time, that angry cat. Lovely. And then finding again that nice tabletop. So again, that sense of pushing the back of the heart up towards the ceiling. Try to keep the weight level across your hands as you take the right leg back behind you, all of the foot to the floor. So just straightening off through the leg. And then bringing the knee back underneath the hip. Other side, so sliding that left leg back, ball of foot to floor, heel stretches away, and then knee back underneath the hip. Adding the breath, inhale, right leg extends. So the temptation as we start to drop the head, so keep pushing into the hands, inhaling, left leg extends. So happily stay here, extending one leg and then bringing the knee back in line with the hip. Or this time as you inhale, lift both knees, you're coming into plank. And as you exhale, come back down onto all fours. So either alternating, extending one leg and then the other, or joining me in plank. Lovely. We'll do that twice more, just so hopefully we've all balanced up if you're doing left and right. So keeping the hips roughly level with the shoulders. So again, we're not sinking down. So pushing into those hands, straining off through the legs. Beautiful. So see if you can join me now in plank pose. Optional ways to stay on all fours. Push into the hands, take the gaze forwards. So we're not dropping the hips or lifting the hips up, trying to get that nice long shape through the body. then slowly, slowly coming down onto the knees. Just sit back onto your heels for a minute and give the wrists a little bit of a shake there. Oh, I'm going to take a layer off already. Oh, and someone had asked me about my scarves. In the days of second-hand shops, that's where I got them all from. I had to dig them out from the bottom of the wardrobe there. Coming back onto all fours, so lots of options here, so be mindful of backs. So looking forwards, pushing into those hands, back of the heart stays open. Right arm and left leg slowly extend, trying to firm up through the belly as you open up through the chest, extending out nice and long, and then coming back through center. Other side, so trying to keep any wobbling from side to side to a minimum. And then bringing the hand and the knee back. Inhaling, right arm, left leg, so keep the gaze forwards. Keep that sense of strengthening through your belly, navel to spine, other side. So happily stay here, extending opposite arm and leg, or beginning to open up into the back and the heart as you inhale, right arm, left leg. And as you exhale, bend the knee and sweep the hand back, seeing if you can take hold of the top of the foot. Inhale, push the foot into the hand, lift the chest. And as you exhale, hand and knee come back down onto the mat. Other side, inhaling, left arm, right leg. Exhale as you bend the knee, catch the foot or the back of the trousers. Inhaling, lifting the chest, pushing foot into hands. Exhale, coming down. We'll do that twice more. So remember, you might just want to extend opposite arm and leg and then bring the hand and the knee down, or circling back, catching the foot. Pushing foot into hand, lift the chest. So it's like a little all fours dancer's pose, those of you who know that beautiful balance. Last time, left arm, right leg if you're with me. Reaching back as you bend the knee. Inhaling, lifting the chest. And exhaling, back down onto all fours. And this time let's round the back, sinking your hips back towards your heels. And thread the arms back alongside you. So you're coming into a child pose with the palms up towards the ceiling. If it's more comfortable to turn the head to one side, feel free to do that. But really reach your fingertips back beyond your toes. So you're getting a lovely sense of space between the top of your shoulder and your ear, but we're allowing the shoulders just to inwardly rotate. So just to release and create some space across the upper back. Nice. And let's start to think about lifting up. So sitting up onto your heels. And as you do so, sweep the arms up, grow really tall, lift up and out of the hips. Then as you come back into that child pose, palms turn up. As you scoop the arms back alongside you, you can lower to the forehead or turn the head to one side. So inhale, the arms lift, coming up to sit on your heels, stretching your arms all the way up. If you're turning your head, turn it the opposite way as you swan dive all the way down. Back of the hands on the floor. Option to stay here, or this time lift the hips, coming into standing, kneeling, rising up, hips push forwards. Exhale. Scoop the arms all the way back, so keep the back nice and long, again, forehead to floor or turning the head. Inhaling all the way up, push the hips forward, scoop the arms up high. Exhale all the way down, lovely, so get that sense of space and controlled descent. One more, all the way up. And all the way down, beautiful. So we'll all meet in that child pose. We're going to come back into that little template. So sweeping the arms out in front of you now, coming up onto your fingertips. So the elbows and the palms are lifted. Plug your fingertips forwards and down. Really draw your hips back towards your heels. So energizing the hands forwards. Lovely. So we've got the option to stay here in that child pose, pushing fingertips down. So again, you're getting that lovely sense of space and lift and energizing through the arms. Or flattening the palms, coming up onto all fours for puppy pose. I like to tuck my toes under. Walk your hands forwards to the diagonal corners of your mat. You can come up on tented fingertips or flat palm. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, you melt your chest down between your arms, trying to keep your bottom in line with your knees. So you might be able to bring your forehead down. Some of you might be able to dip right down, bringing your chin down towards the mat. Little look there. So imagine there's a warm hand between your shoulder blades, just melting you down. If that's not for you, child pose, arms extended. Lovely. If you're in that puppy pose, just again, take a breath or two there, just allowing the chest to melt down. Remember, palms and elbows might be down or up on those little spider fingertips. Lovely. And then slowly, slowly, walking the hands back. If you're in child pose, you walk the hands forwards until we all meet on all fours. Tucking the toes under, pushing into the hands, firing up the back of the heart towards the ceiling. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's come into that plank pose. Beautiful. And from plank pose this time, lifting the hips up and back into that first downward dog shape. You can stay on all fours today. Start to walk out through the feet. Slowing that movement down with the breath. A little pedal out there. Maybe a little shake of the head. Beautiful. Oh, I meant to show you something. Pop yourself down on all fours and have a little look. So I always find with downward dog that my shoulders end up kind of somewhere around my ears. So I have a real devil's own job to try and keep my shoulders down my back. I'll come a little closer. So I've talked about this in class. A tip that someone showed me that really helped me is when you have your hands on the mat in downward dog, pushing into your finger pads and your knuckle pads, get the sense of wanting to pull your hands outwards from your thumb, fanning out towards your little finger. The hands don't move, but get that energetic sensation. And with the back, imagine the shoulder blades then slide down the back and really kind of hold you in place. So have a little play with that. It really worked for me. It might not for you, but anything I think that helps us in downward dog, firm up through the back and keep the neck nice and long. So hands under shoulders, nice and broad across your hands. As you push your hips up and back into that downward dog, get the sense again of almost imagine that outward fanning of your hands. So I always feel that my armpits then kind of tuck in. I kind of close my armpits up a little bit, hugging them in towards the body. And I feel my upper back broaden there. So take a couple of breaths there. You can always pop a bend in your knees. Get the sense of length through the back, really firming up through the upper back. And then bring the left foot to the middle of the mat. So you can take the right leg all the way up and back. Lovely. Turn the toes out ever so slightly so we get a little bit of hip opener there. Take an inhale. And exhale, step or help that right foot forwards. And we'll drop the back knee. Beautiful toes, tucked or untucked choice is yours. I'm going to keep mine tucked under this morning as I rise up into that lunge. Now, swimmers in the room, apologies for my technique. Imagine now you want to start doing a front crawl with your arms. Yeah, I can see lots of arms moving, brilliant. So really beginning to work into the shoulders, loosening off through the shoulders. If it's too much with the arms extended, you can always bring your fingertips onto your shoulder and just move the elbow. I know some of us struggle with shoulders. And now backstroke the arms. So really beginning to make that movement big and expansive, taking the shoulder through its whole range of movement there. It's a beautiful, mobile, but sadly unstable little joint. So this time let's sweep both arms up towards the ceiling. And just the left arm backstrokes back this time. So right arm up towards the ceiling. Left hand coming either onto your low back, or begin to slide that left hand down towards the back of the knee, reaching up with the right arm. Maybe begin to sink the hips forwards, lifting the chest up. So we're coming into a little camel pose. You can always keep the shoulders in line with your hips if that back bend really doesn't work for you today. Beautiful, opening up through the heart. Nice, both arms lift as you inhale, coming to that lovely crescent lunge, keeping that sense of lifting through the heart, and then swim the hands down. Beautiful. Pick up the back knee, fire up through that back heel and step back into plank. Woo! Push into the hands, squeeze to the bottom. Beautiful. And then slowly, slowly drop down onto all fours. Flatten the feet and reach both arms back, coming to that child pose. Fingertips lengthening back beyond your toes, space between ear and shoulder. Coming into that standing kneeling. So inhale, rise up, push the hips forwards. Remember, you can keep your bottom on your heels. Exhaling, palms turn up as you scoop the shoulders away from the ears. You can turn the head to look towards the opposite way. All the way up, inhale. Beautiful, exhale all the way down. So this next time, you're going to come up into that standing kneeling and pause Tuck the toes under and we'll bring both arms just level with the shoulders. Beautiful. You can always pad up onto your knees if you're on a harder surface there. So the body stays beautifully straight. You begin just to sink the hips back, a little squeeze at the bottom, and then bring the body forward. So we're just doing a little bit for the quads and the hip openers. So leaning back, lovely, and then bringing the body forward. So how far you go depends on how tight the hips are, how strong we are through the core. And you might, as we do that a couple more times, want to linger there for a breath or two, building up a little bit of strength. Ooh, this will wake us up, getting a little bit warm here. Big muscles, big sensations. Beautiful, let's come all the way up. Bringing the hands down, walking the hands forwards underneath the shoulders. Lovely. Let's tuck the toes, press into the hands, fire up through the back of the heart and lift up into plank pose, or you can stay on all fours. And then from there, lifting the hips into that downward dog. And again, finding again, maybe that little outward fanning of your hands from thumb towards the little finger edge, broadening across the upper back. So this time, right foot comes into the middle of the mat, left leg lifts. You can do this from all fours, turning the toes out slightly, a little bit of hip opener as you inhale. And exhale, step or help that left foot forwards this time, dropping the knee. I'm going to keep the toes tucked under for this morning. Rising up into that lovely low lunge. And then we start that front crawl. On one side, I really have to think about the coordination of my arms. I'm not the most coordinated person at all, so I've really got to think about what I'm doing. As my mother used to say, Helen, for someone so small, you are remarkably clumsy. And then we'll go the opposite way. There, that's the way that gets me. Back straight the arms. You can tell I wasn't a swimmer. Oh, all that wet stuff, nasty. Oof. Lovely. So loosening up through the shoulders, and then let's sweep both arms up into that beautiful lunge, and just the right arm back strokes back this time. You might just bring the hand into the low back and reach straight up to the ceiling, or begin to slide the hand down towards the back of the knee, reaching that left arm up and back, really lifting up through the chest. Imagine there's a hand between the shoulder blades. Beautiful. You can keep that lovely shape as you release both arms now into that lovely crescent lunge. Remember, your shoulders might be above the hips. And then come all the way down, hands frame the foot. Pick up that back knee. Let's step back into plank for a moment, pushing into the hands. Make sure your shoulders are above your wrists and you're firing out through the heels. Beautiful. And then dropping down onto all fours, flatten feet. And this time just keep the arms stretched out in front of you as you come into a child pose. So we're going to build up a little flow and come into a little cheeky balance. So it depends on how much space you've got as to how far you want to take this today. So coming back onto all fours, tucking the toes under, finding that downward dog. Lovely. So again, just pausing momentarily, seeing if again you can find that space between bottom of ear and top of shoulder, that sense of strength through the upper back and length through the spine, and to tip your pubic bone up towards the ceiling. And then left foot to the middle of the mat, right leg lifts. This time bend the knee. Almost imagine you want to poke your toes towards the back of your head. So you're maybe pressing your ribcage towards that supporting thigh. And like a little scorpion with a tail, bending that knee. Beautiful. And then straightening out through the right leg, take an inhale and exhale, step or help it forward. So if it gets kind of stuck, pick it up, give it a helping hand. Adjust that back foot for a warrior one stance. So to hop it out, toes to the back foot slightly out. So a good hip width apart with the feet. And then rise on up into that warrior one. Oh, I'm not decapitated, I got the angle right. Beautiful. So hips and heart roughly square to the mat. Not everyone's going to have that capacity to bring their hips square on, so don't get too worried about it. But fire into the outer edge of that back foot so we're not collapsing in that back leg. And just as we did at the beginning, bring the hands to the heart, lift breastbone to thumbs. As you inhale, let's sweep the arms out nice and wide, open the chest. Exhale, reach forward as you bring the palms to touch and the hands back to the heart. So again, all in one big exhale. Inhale. Exhale, reaching forwards. So firing up through the outside edge of that back foot a couple more times. So you can really feel that that back leg is anchoring you down. So you're finding that lovely length through the back. Beautiful, last one, inhale. So maybe a little back bend there before we reach forwards, exhale, and the hands to the heart. So this time we'll open the arms out nice and wide and bring the hands behind you, interlacing them, and draw the knuckles down so you're getting that lovely sense of opening through the shoulders. Oh, that should feel nice if you're all zoomed out, spending all the time at the computer this last week. Now, option to stay here or join me for a little cheeky balance. So we begin to tip the weight forward. So I'm just going to slide or hop that back leg in ever so slightly. And then begin to lift that back leg. I'm going to move back, otherwise I'm going to brain myself on my bookshelf there. So lifting that left leg, coming into a warrior three. Pressing out through the ball of that back foot. So you might have the chest lifted. You might be resting on the ball of that back foot. If you're in that warrior three, draw the knuckles back, power the heart forwards, and press up through the ball of that back foot. It's hard on carpet. Extra layers of wobble. Woo! And then slowly, my little warriors, let's bring the feet together, keeping the hands behind you if you can. Roll of the shoulders, lift up with the chest. Beautiful. And then bring the hands together at the heart. Lovely. So bringing the feet together if you can, as my Pilates teacher said, bunions together and heels together, and keep an eye on the knees as you sink the hips down into that chair pose. So trying to keep knees roughly on top or slightly behind your ankles, and then lift and open through the chest. So if the chest starts to dip, you feel the heart softening down, just lift the hips a little higher. Beautiful. So keeping the chin in line with the fingertips, take an inhale. And as you exhale, take a little twist to the right. So again, chin stays roughly level with the fingertips, not a big move. Inhale through center. Keep the knees squeezed together as you change direction. Inhale through center. This time as you exhale, let's come to the right, pause. Release the left hand, so back of the hand comes to the outside of the knee or the thigh. Wrapping the other hand behind, so you're rolling the shoulder. You can look up, you can look down, you can maybe sink a little deeper. But again, check that that left knee isn't squeezed forward, so really bring the knees together. Squeezing through the glutes, beautiful. Bring the hands together at the heart. Fingertips and chin stay roughly level as you take that to the left. So this time, back of right hand comes to outside of knee or thigh, other hand wraps behind. You might be able to sink a little deeper into that chair pose. Check the knees haven't slid apart. Beautiful. Come all the way back through center. Either stay hands to heart or extend the arms forwards, or maybe lifting up arms alongside the ears, heart open. Beautiful. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhaling, draw the heart forwards halfway. You might have your hands on your shins or your thighs. And as you exhale, plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Oh, have a little walk out. If you want to take a child pose there for a moment before we do the other side, have a little rest. Swizzle out the wrists. So we're going to try that on the left leg. So right foot comes to the middle of the mat, left leg lifts. And this time we bend the knee, and again, like a little scorpion tail, imagine you want to bring the toes to the back of your head. So you're dipping the chest down, pressing your rib cage towards that right thigh, like a little scorpion. So a little back bend there, lovely. And then straightening that left leg all the way up, take an inhale. Exhale, step or help it forwards. Adjusting that back foot ready for your warrior one, so hip width apart, toes out to the side. You can walk your way up that front thigh, you can sweep the arms up, and then bring the hands to the heart. Just making sure that you don't get that head rush as you come up. Rooting down through the outside edge of the back foot. Hips and heart roughly square towards the front of the mat. Ready for that little heart opener. So inhale, arms open. Maybe we lift the chin, lift the chest. Exhale, we reach forwards, pressing into the back heel before we bring the hands back to the heart. So there's that lovely length through the back body. Inhale. Exhale, reach forwards, and then shoulders above hips, hands to heart. Lovely. Inhale. Exhale, so you're getting that lovely sense of length through the spine. Last time, and then we'll come to that little balance challenge. Should you wish to take it today, inhale. And exhale. Hands to heart. So this time we'll inhale, open the arms out nice and wide, and then swim the hands behind. And if you're really clever, you can change the way you interlace the hands. Just for a little bit of variation. It should feel a bit weird if you're doing that. Roll the shoulders, lift the chest. So we've got the option to stay there. Or again, you start to shift the weight forwards. I'm going to slide that back foot in. So this might be your warrior three. You might want to stay here. Again, I'm going to move back for some space. Or if you wish, we start to lift that back leg. So keep the front knee a little bit soft. Lowering that front body, draw the heart forwards. I really press out through the ball of that back foot. Lovely. So the chest is that horizon point between the sky and the earth. Oh, a little bit of wobbling there. Embrace the wobbles on a carpet. And then wherever you are, let's soften the front knee. Come up to stand. Planting the feet. Draw the knuckles down. Lift the chest. Beautiful. And then release. Hands to heart. Feet together. So be really mindful, anyone who's got anything with their backs, be really mindful what we're going to do next. Lots of different options. So keeping the chest lifted, knees on top of ankles, we'll sit back down into that chair pose. Lovely. And again, lifting up through the chest. So again, you might just need to come a little bit higher if you feel that your chest is closed there. Fingertips and chin stay level as you take a twist to the right. Option back of left hand to outer knee or thigh, other hand wraps behind. We can stay there. Or hands to the heart, sink deeper. See if you can hook left elbow outside the knee or the thighs. You've got to come deep in the legs and then press into that supporting elbow to bring your thumbs towards your heart. Oh, there's some guys going. Check the knees, check the knees. My left knee is creeping forward, so check the knees. Oh, slowly come back through center. Lift up out of the hips a little bit as you take that twist to the left. Option back of right hand to outside knee or thigh, other hand behind, or hands to heart. Sink deep in the legs, turn the chest, hook right elbow over the knee or the outer thigh, and then pushing into that supporting elbow so you're lifting your chest towards your thumbs. Have a little look there. Ho, 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 ho. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly come back through center. Option to keep the hands at the heart or extend the arms forwards, level with the chest. Hug the arms back in the sockets or lift the arms up alongside the ears. Beautiful. Take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, lift the head, lift the heart. And as you exhale, step back into that downward facing dog. Beautiful. From downward dog, let's roll the body forwards to plank. And the knees lifted or lowered. Keep the chest coming forwards and down as you slowly lower yourself down. Beautiful. Let's make a little pillow, rest one hand on top of the other. Separating the feet, that hip width. Have a little rock, side to side maybe. A little roll of the head. That's in crocodile pose. It's just an alternative to child pose. Switching myself back a little bit. Lovely. And then slowly let's bring ourselves into Sphinx pose. So bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. So the forearms are parallel. And just really making sure the elbows aren't too far forwards. If you've got any back issues, you can always take your elbows further forwards and slightly wider apart. But for those of us without any back issues, really making sure the elbows are right under your shoulders. Now lengthen the toes towards the wall behind you. And at the same time, push the hips down and feel that you're lengthening again that space between your navel and your heart, just as you did at the beginning with that breath. It's a lovely, lovely pose, Sphinx. Beautiful. And just to protect the back, so if you can bring your belly button up towards your spine. So you might feel that your lower back, my back just feels a little bit more supported there. So you've got the option to stay there, long in the neck, really supported through the back body, or coming into seal pose, you begin to lift the forearms. Nothing else lifts, the shoulders don't suddenly jam up towards the ears, keep lengthening out through the toes. Lovely. And then slowly, slowly release. Take the elbows nice and wide. Hands alongside the shoulders, push up onto all fours. Tuck the toes under and come up into standing kneeling. So this is coming into our kind of peak back bend today. So lots and lots of different options as we come into camel pose. So you can keep your feet, your knees a little bit wider apart. You can scoot them together on the mat. The choice very much is yours. Let's just bring the hands onto the hips and get a sense of pushing the hips forward so the hips really do stay on top of your knees, not swinging back. So that little movement we did before, really get the sense that you're pushing the hips forwards now. And just the right arm, let's circle that right arm all the way in front of the body. Big arc as you bring the hand all the way back down to the hip. And then moving the left arm, so you circle the left arm, so you're really getting that lovely sense of opening up through the shoulders. And then bringing the hands to the hips, lovely. So inhale, right arm circles forwards and up. Exhaling, hand to hip. And then the left arm, so you circle it in front of the body, across the body. Beautiful. And then hand to hip. This time both arms reaching up. And this time both arms circle back, bringing your hands onto your low back. Now traditionally you have your fingertips pointing up towards your shoulder blades. That's really tight on my wrists. So I'm going to turn my fingertips down, but just bring your hands just to the top of your buttocks there. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. And again, keeping the hips pressed forwards, begin to lift up through the chest. Beautiful. Keeping, again, that sense of a squeeze to the bottom so the hips haven't dropped back, as though you're up against a wall at the front of your thighs there. Lovely. Slowly, slowly releasing. Bring the shoulders back in line with the hips. Flatten the feet. Slowly, we sit back towards the heels. And again, really slowly, because the back, even in that fairly gentle version of camel, that will be strong for a lot of us. Take your way down into a child pose. I'm going to reach my arms back just alongside me, but you can reach them forwards or support your head. Lovely. And then just pausing for a moment as you roll your way up just to sit on your heels. And I'll show you what we're aiming for. So you've got the choice as to whether you stay with that version of camel or you come with me if you're a kind of experienced yogi. So have a little look. Option, we'll circle the arm in front of us, just as we did before. And this time, either hand comes to the hip, or you might be able to reach it back towards the heel. And then we bring the arm all the way back to the hip. So circle the left arm, you turn the chest to the left, you reach back and you might be able to reach your heel. We can do that a couple of times. You can then stay, just bringing both hands onto the low back, or you come into full camel, one hand and then the other come to the heel. I've had to lean back and then I want to push my hips forwards. Again, so my hips are more or less on top of my knees. I don't like dropping my head back. I feel really unsupported, but if you like that in your practice, feel free. Lots of squeeze in my bottom, lots of lifting up through the heart, and then slowly, slowly using the core, hands to hips, flatten the feet, and walk up and down into child pose. Okay, lots of options. So come and join me in your standing kneeling. So we'll start with that one-armed camel, but you can always keep with circling the arm and bring it to the hip. So let's start with the right arm. So let's circle the right arm forwards and up, and either bring it to the hip or reaching back, turn the chest to the right, see if you can find your heel. And then as you inhale, sweep the arm up, and exhale, hand to hip. So other arm, left arm sweeps forwards and up, turning the chest to the left. You might just bring the hand to the bottom or bring the hand back towards your heel. Keep the hips pressed forwards. Inhaling up. Exhale as you bring hand to hip. Lovely, one more each way. So we're really getting the back beautifully warm and ready, if you wish. I've not got a particularly mobile back. So camel pose, I'm always very wary of, very mindful of what my back wants to do. So either hands onto the low back, just at the top of the buttocks, lifting up through the chest, or coming into that full camel, so circling one arm back, reaching onto the heel. Other arm circles back, catching hold of opposite heel. Push the hips forwards. So again, that sense of pushing your thighs up against a wall, the front of a wall. And then again, lifting up through the chest, squeezing the bottom. I'm going to keep my chin tucked in. If those of you who prefer to drop your head back, feel free. It just doesn't work for my neck. And not waiting for me to come out. So when you've had enough, very slowly use the core to bring one hand and then the other to your hip. Pause there just momentarily before you flatten the feet. Slowly, the back's taken a lot. Sit back down onto your heels. And you can either come onto all fours and do that angry cat, or find your way into that counter pose of child pose. Again, I'm going to thread my arms back. Oh, and I can feel that in my back, so I'm just going to let my shoulders roll forwards and my back relax and open. Oh, so yes, it's a big heart opener, big back bend, big work for shoulders. So being really careful with our backs, especially at the moment when we can't get to our usual help if we pull something. And slowly, slowly. Sit your way up. Lovely. Drop the bottom to one side. We can come back down onto our backs now. So really taking the heat off the back with some nice stretches. Easing your way back down. Bring your knees in towards your chest. And give yourself a nice massage. So really try and draw the knees in towards the chest, quite tight there. And have a little rock out through the back. Oh, that feels nice. Lovely. And then just pausing knees to chest. You might have just one hand on each knee. You might be able just to lift your head and see if you can take hold of your wrists or even your forearms. So when you lower your head, you're bringing your knees a little closer towards your chest. You can see my tailbone is really lifted from the floor there. And I'm getting a nice stretch from my lower back. The choice very much is yours. And very slowly, you're holding onto your wrists or your elbows, sliding the hands back onto the knees, and then just letting the feet drift down to the floor. I'm going to walk my feet a little wider apart, knees tucked so I can just release into my back. Just working into the upper back for a moment. So reaching both arms up towards the ceiling. And as you lengthen fingertips up towards the ceiling, really feel that the back of the shoulders has peeled up from the mat. And then drop the shoulder blades back down into the mat, really settle them down. Bending at the elbow, taking hold of wrists, forearms, or elbows. It really depends on how tight you feel in the shoulders today. We'll start to circle the arms back above the head and then over to the side. So you're drawing one arm and then the other across the body. So if that feels tight, just bring your hands closer together, maybe just holding at the wrist. Really nice release for the shoulders. Nice. And then this next time you finish your circle, let's bring the forearms just above the chest. Again, you can bring your hands closer together. As you drop your right elbow down towards the floor, you're bringing that left arm across the body. Try and drop that left shoulder down so we're getting a nice stretch across the back of the shoulder. So the back of that left shoulder might have lifted. And then come back through center, and we'll try that the opposite way. So this time the left elbow dips down, drawing the right arm across the body. Lovely, one more each way. Nice stretch just across the back of the shoulder there. Inhale through center. Last time, left elbow dips down, right arm comes across. And then bringing the forearms level with the chest. And just change this, just swap the arms over. So change across the arms. So this time the other arm is on top. And if you can remember, then begin to circle your arms the opposite way. So it might feel a little bit strange because we are creatures of habit and our body, quite understandably, chooses the path of least resistance. So this way for me, I can already feel is tighter, which probably means I should do this way more. Let's do one more circle off through the arms. Lovely. And then once more, just bring the forearms more or less level with the chest, and we'll come to that little stretch. So right elbow dips down, left arm comes across, and just by changing the cross of the arms, I can feel it just slightly differently. Come back through center. So as you drop the left elbow, it doesn't have to touch the floor, just getting that sense of stretching out through the back of the shoulder. Lovely. Let's do one more each way. Remember, the closer your hands are, the more space you're giving yourself if your shoulders really are tight. Come back through center. Last time. Beautiful. And coming back through center. Let's open the arms out, level with the shoulders now, turning the palms up towards the ceiling. And lengthen the fingertips apart, so feeling beautifully broad across your chest. Keeping your feet nice and wide, just separate your knees up towards the ceiling. And a nice wide twist now. Just start gently to tip the knees from side to side. So nothing hectic on the back now. Really gentle release after all that work that you've done on the back. So as you tip the knees from side to side, really try to keep the upper body, the upper back, nice and quiet, weighted heavily into the mat. And let's pause now with just your knees tipped over to the right. So join me there when you're ready. Knees tipped over to the right. And if it's uncomfortable with your feet that wide apart, just slide them a little closer. Just allow a moment to settle. And then maybe pick up your head and turn the head in the opposite direction to your knees. Looking just beyond those left fingertips. So really lengthen the arms away from you. You might even get the sensation of trying to press your thumb edge of your hand in towards the floor if you find that your shoulders tend to creep up towards your ears. Slowly bring the head back to center, then the knees. And again, as you change direction, just allow the knees to tip down to the left. You can bring the feet closer together or widen them, depends on how hips or back feel. Picking up the head to look over your right arm this time. And again, that sense of pressing the thumb edge of your hand into the floor, just to keep that lovely open rotation of the shoulders there. Beautiful. And then slowly, head comes back to center, knees come back to center. And this time let's walk the feet quite close towards your bottom and bring both arms alongside you, palms down. Fingertips lengthen towards your heels, so you're creating that sense of space through the neck. Coming into an easy bridge, so push into the feet. Lift the hips nice and high. You might need to slide your head just towards the top of your mat to create some more space so the neck isn't compressed there. So really finding your way into your back here. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, just release your upper back into the mat. So just perhaps towards your shoulder blades. Pause and then inhale. And as you exhale your middle back, roll it down. So again, maybe just to the waistband of your trousers. Pause as you inhale. And as you exhale, lengthen lower back and tailbone down towards your heels. So really working through those three parts of the back. Push the hips up towards the ceiling. Again, finding that length through the neck. Take a nice inhale. Exhaling just the upper back. So using that sense of control to come down to the shoulder blades. Pause as you inhale. Exhale the middle back. Tends to be the tight area just towards the bottom of the rib cage and the waistband of your trousers. Inhale. Exhale, lower back and tailbone. Just one more of those. So pressing into all 10 toes, keeping the knees forwards and parallel. Find that height through the hips. And then slowly, sequentially, rolling down. First your upper back. Then your middle back, and then your lower back. Allow the back to settle now. And extend one leg, and then the other. And find that length through the whole body now as you reach both arms back above the head. Interlacing the hands so you can push the palms away from you. And stretch the heels away from you. So pull the toes towards your face. And this time try and imprint the whole back seam of the body into the mat. So pushing into your calves, your buttocks. Really feel that engagement and stretch through the back of the body. Slowly release, separate the hands. This time point the toes and reach the fingertips back behind you. So as you stretch, I feel the front seam of the body engage. Front of the thighs, you maybe feel that your back is lifted a little bit. And then release. Let's do that once more. So interlace the hands, pull the toes towards your face. Again, try and imprint the back body, calves, buttocks, feel the whole back of the body. Get that delicious stretch as you inhale. Exhaling, release. This time as you inhale, point the toes, reach back through the fingertips, front seam of the body, stretching and opening. And then release. So as you bring the arms back down alongside you this time, like a snow angel, a little bit of space underneath the armpits there. You can maybe just separate the feet a little bit, rolling the ankles a few times as you find Shavasana. And if the back is really tight, then you might find it more comfortable to come back to that wide-legged position with your inner knees knocked together, making a nice V shape with the legs. And get whatever movement you need. You know, with Shavasana, you might want to put a blanket over you if you're in a cooler room, or slide the shoulder blades, almost physically tuck the shoulder blades underneath you so you find that sense of space across the chest. I'm just going to sit myself up for a minute. But coming back to that sense of space across your chest, lovely broadening across your collarbones, and a corresponding heaviness between your shoulder blades. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. You might just want to softly sigh the breath out as you exhale. Do that a couple more times. So again, the beauty of being at home, you can really not worry about using sound, sighing the breath out, or sometimes even hissing the breath out between your teeth. So to really release tension in your body. And then allowing the breath to settle into a really easy and steady rhythm. Never has to be any particular count of breath or length of breath. We're all very different there. So as you ease your way into Shavasana, I'll just read you again the words from that lovely poem, The Singing Bowl. Begin the song exactly where you are. Remain within the world of which you're made. Call nothing common in the earth or air. Accept it all and let it be for good. Start with the very breath you breathe in now. This moment's pulse, this rhythm in your blood, and listen to it, ringing soft and low. Stay with the music. Words will come in time. Slow down your breathing. Keep it deep and slow. Become an open singing bowl whose chime is richness rising out of emptiness and timelessness resounding into time. And when the heart is full of quietness, begin the song exactly where you are. Very gently now, just begin to deepen and lengthen each breath. Just the words of that poem, the rhythm in your blood, so finding that smooth and steady rhythm for your breath now as you gently just bring some movement just into the peripherals of the body, the hands, wiggling fingers, the feet, wiggling your toes or rolling your feet in and out, and the head, maybe just dropping ear to shoulder. If you want to revisit that lovely full body stretch, keep it really gentle as you take the arms back above the head, straightening both legs if the knees are bent. You might want to pause there in that lovely sense of space. Breathing into the space behind you and above you. And then the arms gently drift back down alongside you. Bring your heels back in towards your bottom. And then finally, your knees to your chest. And again, you might just want one hand on each knee. You might want to just pick up your head, so you might be able to hold onto your forearms, lowering the head and bringing the knees to your chest for a deeper stretch into the low back, if that feels nice. Move, rock, linger in stillness, whatever intuitively you want to do there for a moment. And then wherever there's space, to the left or to the right, just roll onto that side for a moment with your knees just drawn up towards your chest. So again, you're getting a very benign stretch around your lower back there. And when you come and join me in that final comfortable seated position, never has to be cross-legged. Just as we did at the beginning, we'll bring one hand onto the heart, one hand onto the lower belly. Softening the shoulders. Closing the eyes perhaps for a moment. And again, it's that top hand, you can maybe find that rhythm, your moment's pulse, getting the heart beating. And then bringing both hands now to the heart. Now Anjali Mudra, the palms together, the thumbs towards your breastbone, lifting breastbone to meet thumbs. And then allowing the chin to drop down towards the chest. And namaste. Thank you. I'll come and turn everybody back on so they can have a little chat. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.